Errol the Truth Spence Jr. back, signed to fight Sebastian Fandora in October. Also, I'm really confused about the reaction to the Ryan Garcia B sample positive test. We get into that in this video. This is your boy JG. This is a Punch Report. Now, before we get into Errol Spence Jr. Fandora, I'm gonna do a light overview of that bout and how I see that playing out and what it means for one, Errol Spence Jr., obviously Fandora, also Tim Tszyu and the rest of PBC. I gotta get this out of the way. This Ryan Garcia B sample stuff. Now, I saw individuals on YouTube, Twitter, essentially stating, now that the B sample is back, I know that Ryan Garcia cheated. Now, someone take the time to educate me because I'm unsure. When in the history of boxing, and I'm sure that it has happened, but I don't remember it happening in recent memory, where an individual tested positive on the A sample. They made the request themselves, paid their own money to have the B sample open and tested again, and then it came back clean. Pause for effect. That test was always going to come back dirty. The samples are taken at the same time, bagged up and separated and then bagged up. There was never going to be a scenario. It's just highly unlikely that it would come back and be negative for the Osterring. So the victory lap and the celebration and all this other good stuff, or you feeling like I now know that Ryan Garcia is a cheater. When he tested dirty, the A sample, that was it. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, it does not change anything at all for Devin Haney, except for if NSAC decides, you know what, we'll make it a no contest, and he gets his O back. They take the loss off his record. I've said all the stuff I'm about to say before. Devin Haney still got in there with a guy who demonstrated that he wasn't disciplined. He did not even try to make weight. Like I said before, he weighed in with a beer, said it wasn't a beer, then said it was a beer. You renegotiated. You got $1.5 million, took the money, and got in there with a guy who made it abundantly clear, I'm not going to do the right things. That doesn't mean that you knew he was going to cheat, but what it does demonstrate is you operated and you chose to go in there and operate against a guy who demonstrated that he wasn't going to be a professional and took significant damage, significant punishment, got dropped multiple times. And I said this yesterday on Twitter. You can't get the knockdowns back. You can't take the sustained damage back. You can't take the images back. You can't take the memes back. You get none of that back. A fall that was obvious, at least to me, but other observers there, off that right-hand side against the left hook, you're super vulnerable. Now, that's a bad matchup. Ryan Garcia has a devastating left hook. He exploited you, but Joseph Jojo Diaz had success with that. Even in spots, Javier Fortuna found a way to kind of touch you there. And that was crazy. But I'm not talking about, fighters get hit. I'm talking about hit you in a place where it's obvious you have deficiencies defensively. If I was providing any guidance, I would say stay out of that dumbass show. You need to go to traditional boxing stance or operate behind the high guard, utilizing the jab and moving your feet. That's what I would say. If I see you in the Philly shell again, it's going to be a problem. Because you don't operate properly and you get caught too much weight on the back foot and you get clipped up. And you don't see shots come in well enough to operate in the Philly shell. Those things don't come back. And moving forward, I don't even know what Devin Haney does because he balloons up too heavy in the offseason. He's cutting down to 140, but the guy's there that way more cracks, way more power, do more damage offensively. He can't hurt anybody. He didn't even hurt Regis Prograis. He dropped him with a clean shot that was well timed, but Regis was never hurt. And even when he stepped on the gas, it didn't even matter against Prograis. The best bet, the best scenario for Devin Haney was to keep his weight in check, a la Floyd Mayweather, and stay at 135, maybe cruise up to 140 for fights that were more lucrative or more enticing, legacy builders. But to go to 140 because you simply didn't want to be disciplined enough in your offseason, that's problematic, but I digress crazy. Ryan was dirty. You fought dirty Ryan. A sample, B sample, positive for Osterring. No nandrolone or any other anabolics. And you got pieced up. That doesn't go away. The damage doesn't go away, So to wrap this one, yeah, he was dirty. 2, you still fought a guy who told you he's going to be undisciplined. And the damage doesn't go away. There is no, now I feel comfortable with the idea of Devin losing because the B sample was positive. The A sample was positive. That's all you really needed. The B sample was never going to be negative. That was never going to happen. What do you see next for Devin Haney in his future? Because it's tough sledding at 140. I think at this point he's put on too much muscle mass as well as the other weight that he gains in the offseason. He probably can't make 35 unless he puts on a major commitment But you let me know in the comment section, what do you see next for one Devin Haney? Now, moving right along. Great news, maybe slightly concerning news. Errol the True Spence Jr. makes his much anticipated return against current champion at 154 pounds, Sebastian Fandora, coming off the close Tim Tszyu bout where he got the nasty cut. Some say, oh, that's why Tim lost. But nonetheless, the towering Inferno got it done against Tim Tszyu. Early outlook on this fight. It's tough for me because we don't know what Errol Spence is going to look like. Weight was an issue. We got eye issue. The beating from Terrence Crawford. All these things play a factor. I said this a few videos ago. I'd like to see Errol in a tune-up, but like he said before, man down, Mr. No Tune-Ups. Is he going to bite off more than he can chew against Sebastian Fandora? He should be more comfortable at 54, not cutting down to 47. And it's been widely rumored, even Chris Algieri stated, when he fought Errol back in the day, he had no idea how he was even making 147 because of his size and stature. Pause. If Errol is himself healthy, ready to go, bouncing his step, not weight drained, I think there's opportunity for success at 54. With Sebastian Fandora, he cleaned this up a little bit better, but typically he will not fight behind his jab. He did a better job against Tim Tszyu, but ultimately he likes to throw punches and bunches and combinations, has a great uppercut, but he's available to be hit. See Erickson Lubin, see Brian Mendoza, who knocked him out brutally, see Tim Tszyu in his last bout, coming off the loss of Brian Mendoza, where, you know, he took some damage and ate some big shots himself. Both these guys have a high work rate, so I can't wait to break this fight down. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. How do you see the fight going between Errol Spence Jr. and Sebastian Fandora? And before I do the breakdown videos, I definitely have legitimate questions about what Errol Spence can still bring to the table. And it's a little more than the Terrence Crawford loss. It's the car accident. Is that piling up? Repeated eye injuries he recently had. Well, he had a detached retina, then he had surgery again after the Crawford fight. He's been out of the ring for a while now, which is that's not a bad thing. He probably needed the rest. But him arriving at a new weight class against a current champion, definitely hats off to him. He's very consistent. Mr. No Tune-Ups, man down, strap season. We got to see what plays out. And to end this video, PBC, they're just going to keep winning. They really, really are. They have a tremendous card coming up with Gervonta Tank Davis taking on Frank the Ghost Martin. And that card is absolutely loaded. Shout out to David Benavidez. But no matter what happens between Fandora and Errol Spence Jr., the next bout will be Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu versus Spence, or Tim Tszyu in a rematch against Fandora. And that first fight was a barn burner, so you know cats are checking for it. Errol Spence comes fully loaded with a fan base that loves and adores him. He will put butts in the seats. He will sell tickets. He will promote. And if it's him next against Tim Tszyu, it's going to be a fight that does well, sells well, and generates a lot of interest and buzz. PBC has figured out a way to insulate themselves within their own network to ensure that we can continue to put on great championship bouts, cards at 47, 54, 40, 35, whatever the case may be, that people were going to actually want to spend their money on and see, and the fights are meaningful. Let me know what your thoughts are. Drop your comments in the comment section. This is your boy JG. This has been the Punch Report. We out.